Hey guys, welcome to Janine's gluten-free kitchen, and we have Easter around the corner. And if you're anything like me and you don't have dairy and you don't have gluten and you try and avoid really processed foods, then Easter can be a bit of a nightmare to get around. So today I'm going to show you how to make your own Rocky Road Easter eggs or your own honeycomb Easter eggs. And I'm going to show you how to make your own mold cases and then fill them with all that deliciousness so you can enjoy Easter just like everyone else. Okay, we'll see you in a sec. So let's talk about the ingredients first, because that is always the most important thing in any recipe. Now, when you're avoiding dairy, chocolate can be a little ordinary tasting. It can sometimes be very bitter, sometimes it can be very grainy, and it's a bit of a nightmare to maneuver all the different chocolates. But I have some to recommend to you that taste fabulous. Now, the first one, this is white chocolate. It's made by Sweet William. It's dairy-free and nut-free and gluten-free. So, and it has a caramel, almost a caramel white chocolate sort of taste. So I have not found anything better in the white chocolate range. This is pretty good. Now, as far as dark chocolate, obviously milk chocolate's not an option, but as far as dark chocolate goes, there are a few options. Sadly, Lindt is not one of them because they put milk solids in just about anything. But you can get some blocks of chocolate that do not have any dairy in them. And they're usually out of Switzerland, or they're, Dutch or something like that. This is something I found actually in Aldi supermarkets, and it tastes okay. But if I have to be honest, this brand is probably my favorite to go to as far as taste, texture, melting factor, the smoothness of it. It's a beautiful tasting Dutch chocolate made by, it's actually made by Van Houten. These guys are the same company. Slightly different chocolates. They have a few different types of the dark chocolate, and some of them do contain milk, so you have to make sure that you get the ones without milk. This is a better eating chocolate, I have to say. This is smoother and doesn't have as much caffeine, I found, in it. So as far as eating chocolates go, this is the one to go for. However, this is beautiful to bake with because it's very smooth and holds its texture really, really well. Don't get me wrong, this is fantastic to eat too. It's just, this is just a little bit better. So they're the two chocolates that we're going to use today. Now, ingredients. We're going to put Rocky Road in. I've started the Rocky Road. I'm not going to go through that recipe again today because we have already done that. And if you click the link above, you'll be able to go straight to that recipe and make your own. So this is just waiting for the melted chocolate to throw it together. And the other thing I want to do is some honeycomb. Now, I'm not going to make my own honeycomb. It's quite involved. And we have a company here called New Farm Confectionary. They're a local brand and they make a lot of gluten and dairy-free sweet products, and they sell plain honeycomb and it's really delicious. So just got myself a packet of those. We're going to use that for one of the eggs. Now, as far as the egg molds that we're going to use, you can get a bunch of different ones online. I have some larger ones that are just the half shell. They're just plain, smooth, and they're perfect for filling a half egg. And I also couldn't resist these gorgeous little numbers with a bow on it, and I'm going to show you how to paint the bows so that you've got the contrasting colors, and they're going to be super cute. All right, so first thing we want to do is start melting our chocolate. Now you can melt it over a double boiler. I actually really like the super simple way of microwaving it, but you have to do it on very, very low, the lowest setting. And then you just start with a couple of minutes, stir, do a couple more minutes, stir until you've got it all melted. I'm going to start with the white. So this is the Rocky Road chocolate. I've already melted it and that's ready to go, but I'm not going to mix it until I'm ready to start filling my eggs. So just doing a bit of pre-planning, and I've melted my dark and that is ready. Now to do this, you will need a brush, an artist brush, because we will need to paint it onto the bows. And you could get a fancy pastry brush, but this is just from an art shop. It's good enough, it's fantastic, it's nice and pointy. Now we're just going to dip it into our white chocolate and just carefully paint . So that is our bows painted. You can see I've done 2 white bows and 2 dark chocolate bows. And I'm just going to wait for them to set. You could put them in the fridge, absolutely. There is always a slight risk when you put dark chocolate in the fridge that it can go white. But if you don't leave it in too long, if you just put it in to sort of snap chill it, you should be okay. Now, to do these, what you want to do is pour your chocolate and just start a little at a time. It's best. I'm starting with about, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 10 grams or something. And then you're just going to swirl it around. Just bang it as you go. Just very gently tease it to the edge. And just shake it. When we used to have the Sunday biscuit factory, we used to make hundreds of these things at Easter time, hundreds. My gosh. This is always easiest to do in a cooler kitchen because it does allow the chocolate to set as you're doing this. When your kitchen's very warm, it takes ages to set. And being in Brisbane, it's hot. Let's do our other egg. What you'll see as I do this, you'll probably notice me shaking it as I go. If you're relying on the way it naturally runs, it sort of runs unevenly. So sometimes you get to a point in the edge where if you let it run on its own, it doesn't run evenly. So when you shake it, you're kind of forcing it to straighten out. And so the edge gets really sharp, which is great, that's what you want. Otherwise what you end up is you get ridges that are all uneven. So you find your edge that's not even, take your chocolate there and just give it a shake and it balances and flattens the line. And when you think that it's almost, ready, I just turn it over on a cold surface and let it run to the edges, because otherwise the edges stay very thin. Okay, and our cute little bows are all set. And now we can do the contrasting colour in the same way that we did the big eggs. Actually, what I will do is cut them in half. When you're painting, it's fine, but as soon as you start rolling the chocolate on, it can actually become a problem because you've got 2 eggs with chocolate running everywhere. how cute is that? Now here's the thing, guys. You're not going to get a beautiful edge on your eggs because it's handmade. It's supposed to have some, what's the word? Imperfections. Thanks, Dean. So when you do this, you're going to have some chocolate running and you're going to have, that's okay. It's completely okay. That's what makes it so unique and handmade. So I'm going to put this into the cool room, that's an old word, and I really want it to set quickly. I've got my white chocolate eggs ready now. So what I'm going to do, because they're such small, cute little eggs, I'm going to get the marshmallows that are teeny weeny and make my rocky road out of the small ones. Once again, get the recipe from our other channel, from our other video, and that is our white rocky road. Now, when you go to fill your egg, you'll want to fill it really quite densely. Do not do that. So the trick to doing these rocky road eggs is that you put it in very kind of loose and jumbled. Let the marshmallows have some gaps, if at all possible, where possible. And the other thing is, make sure you get a bit of everything and you pile it high. Now with your leftover rocky road, which you probably will have, get yourself a baking tray and some baking paper, and then just mush it all out into a block, and you've got some nice white rocky road to enjoy yourself. There we go. So we've got our rocky road mix here, and got myself a good food safety glove. Let me give that a good mix through. It's much easier to mix this with your hand, let me tell you. All right, now let's fill our eggs. So for our final egg, we're going to do the honeycomb egg, and I've tossed that in the melted chocolate. And just make sure when you are doing that, that you really cover the honeycomb all the way around, because when honeycomb is not covered completely, when it's exposed to air, it can start to disintegrate, it sort of starts to melt. So we're just very gently putting these pieces in our egg. Just making sure there's a bit in every corner. I have a little bit of chocolate left over, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drizzle it on the side, because the sides of the eggs do tend to thin out very easily and they're prone to cracking and breaking. So if there's any part of the egg that you want thicker, it's the very edges, which is it's not always easy to do that, because obviously with gravity the chocolate runs down. So there is the other way around that, and I'm probably being a little impatient, but the real way around that is to do a coat, wait for it to set, do another coat, wait for it to set, do another coat, and then you're sure to have a nice thick edge. So guys, these are all set now. Now what you need to know is, because they're so thick, when they go in the fridge or when you leave them to set, they take a little while. So don't try and unmold them sooner. So this is what happens when you do try and unmold it sooner and it's not quite set. As you can see, it does not separate very easily. So I can pull that out and stick it on, but it's just not quite the same. But that's, it's great. I can show you what happens if you do try and unmold it too soon. So when you are unmolding it, you have to very gently tease it out, and you can see the plastic coming away from it, and you just very gently move it around until it pops out, and that's what it looks like. How cute is that? On the underside, always stays nice and shiny because it's not exposed to the air. All right, I've just put a glove on because the heat from my hand keeps melting the chocolate very quickly. So this is the Rocky Road one, and you can see the Rocky Road on one side. When I unmold it, you can see how lovely and shiny it is on the underside. That beautiful smooth egg. All right guys, and that is our Rocky Road and Honeycomb Easter eggs, and you can use whatever fillings you want. If you don't want all that extra sugar, you can just do it as a fruit and nut chocolate. You can do it with carob chocolate, sugar-free chocolate, whatever you like. You can even make your own. And you've got some gorgeous gifts. And that's everything for us today. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit the like and share and subscribe and comment and all those things. And we look forward to seeing you next time. See ya. Rocky Road Easter eggs, or your own, what's it called? Honeycomb. So to get started, you will need, all right, do that again. All right guys, I'm gonna redo that.